The Temple of Speed is one of Formula One's most iconic and historic circuits. The drivers drive full throttle for no less than 3/4 of the circuit. The rest consists of tricky chicanes that require heavy braking, and of course, the world-famous Parabolica, sweeping like a slingshot back onto the start-finish straight. Monza, 11 corners, 7 right and 4 left. 2 DRS zones will help with overtaking and bring drivers to a speed of 221 miles per hour. Welcome everyone, this is RCR round 16. This is RCR round 16 and we're here to do 27 laps of this race, 50%. But first, the drivers must go into a short qualifying session. Let's go over the standings. So last week, Binary finished ahead of CJ, did not win the race. That honour goes to Lex. Lex won in Zandvoort. But Binary finished just ahead of CJ. CJ 5th, Binary 2nd, and closes that gap down to just 4 points between the two of them. The two teammates in this championship battle at the moment, so very close between the two of them. And well, it's certainly going to heat up today. It's guaranteed, or almost guaranteed, for them to switch places, especially with them finishing so high up the order where the points gaps get bigger and bigger. As I said, round 16, there are quite a lot of points left to play for. Here in Monza, next week we go to Baku. So a couple of street circuits coming up, Baku, then Singapore, and off to the Circuit of Americas. Going to go on board with the first driver on track at the moment, though. And I think that may be Huff and Dolbach. I'll tell you what. Last week we went on board with Huff and Dolbach, so we'll go on board with Lex instead. We'll just do the warm-up lap and then take us around a lap of this historic circuit, this magnificent circuit. Going into the first of the two Lesmos. Lex will want to continue his high form. He's 57 points off the lead of the championship. It is possible to pull it back, but it's going to take a mighty effort. And that effort needs to start now. Lex in the Alpine. Doesn't look very much like an Alpine, does it? We are still waiting for them to release an update for this game in which we can use the team cars again. But anyway, Lex then starting his lap. No, he's not. He's coming straight into the pits. On board with Owen instead then. DRS open. 2 DRS zones, as I said before. One on the start-finish straight. The other just before Ascari. Got to get it hooked in nice and riding both curbs. And they have widened the entry to the chicane here in turn 1. That new reprofiled turn 1 will help with overtaking. It's got some nasty curbs, this circuit. As Owen faster than Huff and Dolbach in the first sector. The corners inviting you to take liberties with them. But if you take too much, you will get burned. Underfloor of the car bouncing off. A couple of sausage curves, but Lex at the Owen at the moment, sorry. Looks like he's got this one in the bag. It's looked near flawless so far from Owen. Huff and Dolbach with a 1:19.497, the first lap set in this session. It's a decent time, but I think Owen will put one better in. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. It's a 1:19.9. Huff and Dolbach at the moment. The CJ crossed the line and goes second, a 1:19.7. Huff and Dolbach very much with the barnstormer of a provisional pole lap. Slaz leaves the session. For some reason, David Kovalaki crossed the line. It's a 1:20. 0.614. Reese Max begins his lap. Assassin Savage has already begun his lap. Assassin Savage last week finished in 8th place, qualified 11th. He'll be wanting to improve on that today. A lot of drivers coming into this league and improving. Seen that especially from Huff and Dolbach as of late. Was maybe a top 5, top 6 driver. Time and time again, he's coming closer and closer to the front of the field. He just needs to be able to put it together in the race, though. Last week, qualified 5th and finished 6th, so... But he does get those early provisional pole laps in. And if that is his pace, it's still quite consistent, isn't it? This track's synonymous with Ferrari. Assassin Savage, a Ferrari driver here at RCR. Will definitely be wanting to do well. Puts it in 4th place, a 120.5 pips. David Kovalaki. Lex is out on a lap at the moment, but we're just about to catch Reese Max crossing the line, and he's going to put in a 121.671. A full second off the next driver. So Reese Max definitely needs to pick up the pace a little bit. Otherwise, he will get left behind. Like so far, fastest in the second sector. He nailed Ascari, and now he's coming up to the aforementioned before, the famous Parabolica. He's going to sweep around. You're going to gear down into 5th, and then as soon as you get to 5th gear, you're going to power it all the way to the exit curb, all the way to the start-finish line. He crosses it. It's a 119.960. Only 4 fastest from last week's race winner. At the moment, Huff and Dolbach sitting very comfortably on provisional pole. Nearly 3/10 between him and the next driver. 3/10 on a 119 lap is massive. When the times get so narrow, when the margins get so narrow, those bigger margins really do count and are all the more impressive. So 3/10 from Huff and Dolbach at the moment is looking very good. CJ has left the session. Wondering if he's going to be joining back in. Lex on an in lap. We've got a couple of drivers aiming for an out lap, I think. That Websy coming out of the pits or Cottony Goblin? Neither. It's Santry. And Dolbach says, hi, sexy. Hello, Huff. How are you doing? Taking a lot of liberties on the outlap of this track at the moment is Santry. He won't want to dirty those tyres too much. You can see the drivers. If you're new to Formula One, if you've just so happened to stumble along Twitch and then stumbled along my stream as well on top of that, which is very unlikely. But as you can see here, Santry moving left to right. That's to generate heat into the tyres, to give them more grip, to give them more stick to the track, which will generate more lap time if he gets them in the optimal operating window. And let's see if he's done that. He's starting his lap now. Coming up to turn 1. And as I said before, the re-profiled circuit now wider. You can very nicely from Santry there do a lot more with the entry speed. Clipping both chicanes. Santry fastest in the first sector of anybody so far, and that's got to feel good, hasn't it? Lesmo 1 and 2. 2, all the more important because you're going to go down. It's going to lead you down this short DRS straight into one of the faster corners, or a series of the faster corners of this circuit. Ascari. Just on the exit there is where Sebastian Vettel spun out on track. One of his more shameful moments. But that was back when he was, I think, 2020 in the wounded Ferrari after the cheating scandal with the engine. Santry goes second fastest on the front row. 1:19.5. Can anyone do better than that? David coming up to the line at the moment. He's 4/10 faster. He's going to put in a 1:20.2. Goes faster than Assassin Savage. Lex is beginning his lap now. Is anybody actually going to cross the line here? Webbsy's just begun his lap. We got BXTN beginning his lap as well. Can we catch anyone just before they cross the line? Binary puts in a 1:19.772. Third fastest. Often Dolbach's time is looking very good, isn't it? Who are we going to catch first then? Coming up to the line. Looks like Owen is going to be the one that we catch. He's going a 10th faster, but unfortunately, he's invalidated his lap time. That's Santry on his way in. Behind him, sorry for all the camera angle switching, is Webbsy, and then in front is Lex. Yes. So Lex is going faster at the moment. He's purple, but unfortunately, he's now red across the board. Invalidated his lap time. So we'll move back then to Webbsy, who is yet to set a time, and he's flying out of the Ascari chicane, coming down to the Parabolica. It's not a DRS zone, this one. This short straight to the Parabolica. Although the FIA have certainly considered it. Wonder what that would do to the lap times. But Webbsy's lap time then, it's a 1:19.658. Webbsy's return to RCR and a return to form as BXTN crosses the line and puts in a 1:19.478 and goes on to provisional pole. Very well done from BXTN there to do that. Binary into the pits. Don't know if Owen is on the lap here or not. Stick with it. I don't think he is. Look to the timing. No, not on the lap. And that's a cool down and then a warm up. Yeah, it is. But we'll stick with Owen at the moment. The first man we was on board with in the session. And Mr. DJ CJ rejoins. Having trouble with his connection here. Lost the back end a little bit, Owen did. Which is going to hurt a little bit of his time. But can he recoup it? Through Lesmo 1 and 2. Nice and wide to the exit curve, though. Didn't utilise the full thing. Sometimes it's better not to oversteer the car. And Owen going a 10th faster. That will put him at the moment a 10th faster. We take into consideration he may be going faster in the final sector. It puts him around CJ and Binary. Last week, Owen qualified 4th and finished 3rd. He finished on the podium in the final laps of the race. Today, for his qualifying, he's coming into the pits. Decided that a 10th is not enough in the grand scheme of things. This resulted in him deciding to box instead. Out on a lap at the moment. No one, actually, sorry. Nobody's out on a lap at the moment, so this is the brief period before all the drivers decide to come out and set in lap times, because they're going to wait till the last minute. The track ramps up as the rubber gets laid down on the track and it gives the tyres more stick. The track gets faster towards the end of the session. So all these drivers that you see in the pits are waiting until the very last minute that they feel comfortable with, that they can then get around, do an outlap, and then do a qualifying lap. So long as they get their outlap done before that timer reaches 0, then they'll be able to set a qualifying lap. Their final lap will be valid. Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton, both 7-time world champions. They both share the record for the most wins here at 5 apiece. Rees-Max starts his lap. Ferrari are the most successful team at Monza, having won here 20 times. Rees-Max hooking it into turns 1 and 2. Charles Leclerc has recorded the team's 2 most recent wins, 2019 and 2024. Rees-Max. Flat out, this truly is a magnificent circuit. All the way to Ascari he goes, trying to utilize a little bit of the driver ahead's slipstream, but unfortunately for Rees-Max, that is his qualifying over and straight into the barriers he goes. I rather think intentionally he did that, but oh well. David Kovalaki. Currently down in 10th. He is currently the last driver in the session with the slowest time. So definitely needs to pick up the pace a bit. He's not done that so far. In the first sector, he's 500 down on his time. Owen has just begun a lap as well. We'll get over to Owen. And then Lex is following him. Let's see where David Kovalaki is. Still not improving on his time. It's going to have to be mighty in the final sector, and there is just what, 4 corners total for David Kovalaki to navigate. Coming up to the line. And unfortunately for David Kovalaki, I don't think it's going to be improved, is it? Just by a 10th of a second, gained it all in the last stages, but unfortunately it's not enough because he's still down in 10th place, albeit ahead of Cottony Goblin, Rees-Max and Slazenger of Volvo though. Owen. Coming up to the start-finish line. This is where it all counts. It's his final chance. He crossed the line. It's a 1:19.7. Owen has not done enough. Lex coming up to the line as well. Puts it on provisional pole. Well done to him. And CJ crosses the line and puts it on the second row. Here comes Huff and Dolbach, a 10th upon his time. That would put him on provisional pole as it stands. Has Huff and Dolbach done enough to get pole position here? He's coming up to the line. He crosses it. It's a 1:19.440. Puts Huff and Dolbach on provisional pole. VXTN. Can he spoil Huff and Dolbach's party? Round the parabolica he goes. Crossing the line. It's a 1:19. It is a 1:19.343. Huff and Dolbach's pole will have to wait. Websy in 7th. Santry coming up to the line now. And it's a 1:19.513 for Santry. Puts himself in 4th place. David Kovalaki, the last one to cross the line. But unfortunately for Huff and Dolbach, it was oh so close to a pole position. And that would have been his first pole according to my statistics here. It would have been his first pole this season. So then we'll go through our starting grid. BXTN, Huff and Dolbach, they're sharing the first row. Lex, Santry, Binary. That's 3rd, 4th, 5th. CJ 6th, Websy 7th, Owen 8th, Assassin Savage will line up 9th, David Kovalaki 10th. On the 6th row, Reese Max and Slaz, and finally Cottony Goblin in 13th position on the grid. Got very chaotic at the end, didn't it? It was incredibly difficult to follow, but wow, Huff and Dolbach almost getting it on provisional pole. But that does not take away, does it, from the terrific job that BXTN did to usurp his pole position, to take away that pole from Huff and Dolbach. And that is BXTN's 3rd pole of the season so far for BXTN. And he does well around Monza. So BXTN says that the session will start at 10 o'clock. Hopefully. We'll all run like clockwork. Sebastian Vettel remains the only driver to win in a Ferrari-powered car that isn't a Ferrari. He did that here in 2008 in the pouring rain in the Toro Rosso, which then was powered by Ferrari. It's now named Visa Cash App RB. We've already got the formation lap underway, so unfortunately whoever one of the drivers has essentially jumped the start or triggered the start early on. And we've got a driver sat on the grid. Who is that? It's Cottony Goblin. But he is here, so normally there's a 5-minute break or a little bit of a loo between the short qualifying and the race. Somebody has triggered the start. Fortunately, all the drivers are here to begin. Not going to happen here today, but this circuit used to be held towards the end of a Formula One season rather than in the middle that it is today, or closer to the middle like it is today. It means that it's been responsible for settling 12 drivers' championships here. And Giuseppe Farina, the first ever F1 world champion, remains the only driver to have won the world championship on home soil. He won it here in 1950. The first ever F1 championship settled here and won by an Italian driver. So let's look at the tyres then. Don't want to look at any of that. There we go. So all drivers have not opted for the soft, so there's no soft runners. And fortunately for BXTN, nobody's trying anything tricky with starting on the softer tyre to get a better start off the line. Huff and Dolbach behind him. Cottony Goblin has left the session on the start, so I will not be able to invite him back in. But here we go then. All drivers that are currently here have lined up on the grid, and the lights will come on. And watch them as they all turn on. And all turn out. It's Go, go, go. RCR is underway for round 16. Huff and Dolbach does not get a good start at all. Lex is already up into second place and looking on the inside of BX10. Huge lock up from Lex, but it looks like he's got away with it. Huff and Dolbach jostling for position there, almost retaking that, but got a bit out of shape. Out of the second turn, Huff and Dolbach down into third. Lex in second. I'm Mr. DJ CJ in fourth. Websy in fifth. Owen sixth. Binary seventh. CJ up some places, did very well there to gain a massive amount of places. Let's have a look at the position changes. CJ up to Websy, Owen, and Binary down to Sanchu was the main cause of all these places gained. Down 4 places and now down into 8th place. BXTN has to pull away. DRS activates after lap 1. And DRS will be mighty powerful around this track. It's all about speed. It's all about the straights. Just 11 corners to determine those fine margins that these drivers can eke out with their skill. And BXTN already 9/10ths ahead of Lex. It may be a breeze for BXTN already early on in this race. He's pulled out a second over Lex, and Lex is being hunted at the moment by Huff and Dolbach, who lost that place off the line. Did so well to qualify in second on the front row, but unfortunately for him, he's now down in third. And Mr. DJ CJ also looking close in touch with Lex, with Huff and Dolbach at the moment, but who's looking even closer is Owen, who's moving around the outside of Websy into turn 1, and that move was absolutely incredible. You wouldn't have been able to do that at the old format of the circuit when the corner was much more narrow. Here comes Huff and Dolbach. Lex on his own at the moment. No DRS assistance from the driver ahead. And that's going to hurt his chances of defending this position because Huff and Dolbach is looking incredibly fast here. And look at them all coming up to Ascari. Huff and Dolbach with that excellent line wide, but then lost position, went a bit out of shape. And that's going to hurt, isn't it? Because here comes I'm Mr. DJ CJ looking up on the inside of the Parabolica. Huff and Dolbach takes it past Lex. And CJ moves past Lex as well, all in the same corner. CJ's going to have that DRS assistance, but so is Lex. And Lex is very close behind the slipstream. Maybe incredibly powerful here. Behind the straight line, Lex just doesn't seem to have it at the moment. CJ already up into third and closing in. Huff and Dolbach is back within a second of BXTN. It's not going to be that easy, BXTN, Huff and Dolbach says. He is now reining in the pole sitter. Hard to differentiate who's who with these liveries, but we press on. Websy at the moment getting incredibly close to the man that took him around the outside of turn 1. And Websy is looking for a good race on his return back after 2 rounds missed. Slazendura Volvo up 3 places. Santry has just DNF'd out of Ascari, and it's a virtual safety car. Virtual safety car has nullified this race. The drivers now must drive to a pace, a certain lap time, and Huff and Dolbach is coming into the pits. So is BXTN. They're going to utilize this virtual safety car to get off their tires and on to the hards. So that is BXTN's pit stop. His one and only pit stop that he needs to do. Done. That will save him about 10 seconds in the pits by doing it under virtual safety car conditions. Just to confirm, it is a virtual safety car, isn't it? Because I do know that sometimes this game likes to throw out virtual safety car flags and actually be a full course safety car. David Kovalaki has just got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. It ended at the worst possible time for him, and that means that he now has to go through the pits and not take a pit stop. So CJ in the lead of this race. Owen close behind. Websy just 2/10 off. Websy, though, on those hard tyres, he's got to go a lot further in this race to then switch over to the medium or the soft. And apparently the soft will not last around here as many laps as you want it to. So Websy's looking to be guaranteed to go onto those mediums with that virtual safety car. Websy's all over the back of Owen. Just a 10th behind, but doesn't have the straight line speed to capitalise. And a huge lockup from Owen means that Websy almost went into the back of him as the car was going straight on. And he managed to get it turned in at least. And no contact was made. Huffendale back up past David Kovalaki, who's going through that pit. Going through the drive-through penalty, as you can see. Didn't pit, just straight through. On his merry way. That penalty is now served, though. Drivers have 3 laps to serve a penalty. It's binary boxes. What's binary boxing for? We've missed that. He's gone on to the hards. Unless he also picked up a drive-through penalty. Either way, binary down in 12. It's looking very good for CJ at the moment, who's in the lead of this championship. He's 4 points ahead of binary. But at the moment, binary is not scoring any points whatsoever. And CJ will pick up at least 25 over binary if it stays this way. Gets the fastest lap, it'll be 26. Let's get on board then with Websy. Who's closing in on Owen. Is this Websy's chance to go past? Just look at the speed difference between the two of them in the straight line. Owen's utilising that DRS, but Websy cannot get past. Seems that he just gets into the slipstream, tucks in behind. That aids the car, but the moment that he pulls out of it and attempts the overtake, Owen starts to pull back ahead. Incredible straight line speed from that car. Quite impressive that Owen has been able to keep it together like that so far. Websy's looking on the inside of Lesmo 1. And has he managed to pull it off here? He's still on the inside. No, he's not. He's just had to slot in behind because he lost a bit of ground and almost lost the back of the car as well. Fortunately for him, he was able to save it. And Slaz and Assassin Savage at the moment. Slaz harvesting and Assassin Savage up into 4th place. At the moment, Owen and Websy. Websy did manage to get past Owen. Must have been on going into Ascari. And Owen's going to show off that straight line speed now, isn't he? Because Websy does not have the DRS that allowed Owen to remain ahead. And he's just 4 tenths between the two of these drivers. Oh, okay then. So the DRS here, definitely not as powerful as it were last week at Zandvoort. Yeah, about 4 tenths behind at Zandvoort, and it was game over for anyone ahead. Owen didn't even make a dent on that gap to Websy as Websy starts to close in on CJ by a couple tenths, but then loses it again. So CJ at the moment 1.6 seconds ahead and starting to pull away in the lead of this race, and that's exactly what he needs to do because he's not boxed yet, and there's quite a few drivers behind, the likes of Huff, the likes of Lex, the likes of BXTN that are fairly close behind, and once these drivers ahead pit, they will be in the provisional lead of this race. Who's just gone off the track? That's Owen, massively off the track. And that's going to give Websy some breathing space. That was a lapse of concentration or just complete loss of control of the car. Just saw it in the background. It looks almost cartoonish, the way that he drove off the track there. Assassin Savage up in 4th place. Not like Slaz to be this far behind. And the gaps are starting to move. The point where starting to see the differences in pace here. Last week, they were practically nose to tail throughout the entire thing. And the week before that, in fact. And this week, we've got some steady gaps going on. Websy's pulled that gap to CJ down to 1.2 seconds. Binary's just put in the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:21.549. Very good lap early on in the race with full fuel. On hard tyres as well. It's a great camera angle that they've set up there. Taking you through the parabolica. The XTN making his way out of Ascari. At the moment, though, cannot see any of the drivers ahead in his path. And as a driver, when you do see the person that you're chasing off in the distance, when you do get a glimpse, that does drag you towards them. It does encourage. It's much easier to chase than it is to follow. Than it is to lead, sorry. They're both the same thing. Much easier to chase than it is to lead. As Websy is displaying here, 1.1 seconds to CJ. Short gear down in 5th, and the same here again. Short gear down. Then powering out down this mini back straight. He's looking much closer now, isn't he? I think that's within a second to CJ. Let's see how he takes Parabolica at Ascari. And he is much closer to CJ now. Websy going to get DRS here. Both of them are yet to box. Websy on the hard tyre. CJ on the medium. CJ's mediums will be struggling. Websy, DRS, ERS, powering down. CJ moves to the inside to cover off the inside of turn 1. But already into turn 1 they go. And Websy in the lead of the race then. Both drivers yet to box as Assassin Savage picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That'll be for track limits and cutting corners. As Reese Max is retired from the session, and it is a full course safety car, and those that boxed earlier on are going to be furious with this. They boxed, put on those fresh hard tyres. Websy's now got the option to take the mediums, 17 laps to the end. Will he be able to do that? CJ, Assassin Savage and Slaz all have the luxury option of coming into the pits and putting on fresh hard tyres and going all the way to the end. And that is going to really hurt BXTN, Huff and Dorback, Lex, and even Owen, who took a gamble and boxed early on off those mediums. Owen's going to be absolutely distraught with that, actually, thinking about it now. He just needed to wait a couple more laps. And he would have got even just another lap. And Owen would have got his opportunity to box. And now he is down in 8th place. And Websy's going to lead these 4 into the box. Into the pit lane. It's nice to slow down. Going to be mediums for Websy, clearly. And fresh hards for CJ. Out they go. Assassin Savage and Slaz as well. Out of the pits. And remaining in the lead of this race. BXTN has pitted as well onto the fresh medium tyre. That puts Owen up into 4th place. Just ahead of Slaz. So Slaz has lost a place in all of that to Owen. Websy in the lead at the moment. He won in Britain. His one and only win so far this season. And now he is leading this race. He did gain on CJ towards the latter stages. Was that pace difference, or was that the fact that CJ's medium tyres were falling off the cliff? If it be the case, if it's the latter, then Websy does definitely need to pull away in these early stages once the safety car comes in. I said, what, 17 laps to the end? It's going to be a bit less than that because the safety car laps aren't as arduous on the tyres as full racing laps, so gives them a little bit of extra life that you wouldn't normally expect if you were doing full racing laps on them. The safety car slows down. They're not putting any load at all, really, through the tyre. Just a minimal speed. And no pushing the car through the corners. Weaving left to right to left to right. Is Assassin Savage. Excuse me. Don't think he needs to warm the tyres that much, especially on the first safety car lap outing. Couple more maybe, and that's when you should do it. Let's try to I don't have the live standings for you, because unfortunately we are on Xbox, and you require a few plugins to do that if possible anyway. CJ leading Binary by 4 points at the moment. He's doing enough to eke out his lead even further in the championship. CJ scoring 18 points. That's going to put him 22 points ahead of Binary, because at the moment Binary is down in 11th place. And well, yeah, Binary's going to get into the points, I feel, with this safety car. But as it stands at the moment, CJ scoring 18 points over him. Lex not doing enough at the moment. He did box early on under that virtual safety car, and that's put him down in 8th, which unfortunately for Lex means that he's not making a dent on CJ's championship lead. Anybody that wants to get back into this championship in the final rounds of this championship, you're going to need to score some big points over CJ, unless your name is Binary. If your name is Binary, you just need to score a few, but unfortunately he's not doing that at the moment. And hopefully he'll be able to bring himself back through the field. The safety car is coming in this lap, so it's going to start to pull away from the field. See the Websy watching the Aston Martin safety car off into the distance. There will be no overtaking until you have crossed the start-finish line, so that goes for all drivers. You're not allowed to overtake anybody unless you have crossed the start-finish line and begun the next lap. The safety car coming in, and Websy's gone now, and it has caught Mr. DJ CJ off guard. Already 8 tenths, 7 tenths behind Websy. That's going to be enough to defend against any potential slipstream effect. Websy's going to have to utilize. Owen has massively got a pace of advantage over Assassin Savage and has put himself up into 3rd. So Owen boxing onto those hard tyres early on at the wrong time, but is still in 3rd place, just a 1.5 seconds off the lead. And that's really impressive, to be honest with you. He's not really lost much out of that. And currently fastest in the first sector as well. So Owen on a charge and trying to bring himself back into this race at the moment. He's doing so. He's at the moment on the podium. Offendorback looking very close to Slazenger Volvo here. Off the track, who is that? That's David Kovalaki losing it out of Lesmo 2. And that, unfortunately for him, after a safety car, is going to be absolutely painful. Why could that not happen just a couple laps before and he would have been saved? But no. David Kovalaki down in 11th. No front wing. And he's going to have to box to get that repaired. And it's going to put him massively behind. And it's given Binary a point, hasn't it? DRS now enabled. And let's see. CJ at the moment Still within 6/10 of Websy. Websy's not been able to break that DRS despite being on the faster tyre. Huffendorback. What has happened with Huffendorback there? It was up and down. Making his way past Assassin Savage. There's BXTN as well. All these drivers. They'll feel wronged by this safety car down. From the bottom 5 onwards, what was that? Assassin Savage losing ground, losing control of the car. And I think there was slight contact as well. To the point where the game felt that it would be safer for Assassin Savage to be ghosted. And the drivers would be able to drive through him. CJ 5/10 off the lead, 4/10 now. And that DRS definitely aiding CJ along here. But he was in the lead of this race, wasn't he? And now he's closing in on Websy, who had the advantage with those hard tyres that he had on before. As CJ's mediums, the answer is seemingly that CJ's mediums were going off. Going to be a bit too far back this time, though. And Websy's got that straight line speed. CJ trying to utilize the battery to bring himself into contention. That's BXTN looking for a move. Has a little look on Huffendorback, but thinks on Assassin Savage, sorry, but thinks better of it. And here comes Huffendorback, maybe. Oh, massively takes that curb, lifts the car up, the underfloor of the car, catching that sausage curb. Huffendorback all over the back of Owen at the moment. But even more importantly, CJ now on the back of Websy. He's going to get DRS as well, but unfortunately for him, the straight is just not long enough to make the move. And here they go all the way through Ascari. Owen has got 2 cars behind him, and he's trying desperately to keep them that way behind him. Owen, Huffendorback, Assassin Savage, all close together. CJ also closing in on Websy. And there goes Owen. And there goes Huffendorback. It's so close between the two of them. A tenth between CJ and Websy. CJ's pulled up into the lead of this race. And Huffendorback and Assassin Savage have both got past Owen. And so has BXTN. Owen has just been absolutely mugged in one turn. Losing 3 places. Owen is now down in 6th. And has Lex breathing down his neck at the moment as well. That's going to knock his confidence. Owen's been doing very well in this race so far, but when you lose places like that, it can take a bit of pace away. Who is that off the track? That's Assassin Savage twice. He's nearly lost the car there. And that is an accident waiting to happen, isn't it? Looking fast compared to BXTN through Ascari, though. Assassin Savage looking on the inside of the Parabolica. Later on the brakes, BXTN goes, and that puts him deep into the Parabolica. Puts Assassin Savage on the inside. BXTN wide out of the corner. There goes Assassin Savage ahead of BXTN. And I think BXTN does get the DRS. Okay, so just getting that DRS puts himself back ahead of Assassin Savage. And Huffendorback. And meanwhile, in all that, Websy has managed to pull himself back past Mr. DJ CJ. He's got to look after these tyres, though. As Websy, they're not as we've seen earlier on, they're not going to last as long as the hards do, evidently. And what did CJ's fall off the cliff around lap 9, lap 10? And it's going to be very difficult for Websy to hold off CJ here. But the bigger picture is keeping keeping Huff and Dolbach behind. We've got a nice gap. All these cars, look at them. From third, sorry, all the way down to ninth. All so close together. CJ retakes the lead of this race. And it's back and forth between these two. And I don't think it's over yet. Websy coming back at him. 4 tenths between the two of them. CJ takes the lead. And now we've got to watch Huff and Dolbach as well. Because if Websy's tyres start to go off battling CJ, Huff and Dolbach's got the luxury of being the lead car in this second pack. And that's going to mean that his tyres may take a little bit less punishment than Websy's have. Huff, BXTN, Assassin Savage, all out of Lesmo 2. CJ looking to pull away from Websy. He's now 6 tenths ahead. Through Ascari. Definitely the faster of the two. It looks like either Websy's got much better straight line speed, or he's utilising that battery to bring himself back into play in this race. For the lead, it is for the lead. It's for 25 points. And it's massive in this championship. The last thing any of these drivers need, any of them, especially the ones obviously that are in contention for the Drivers' Championship this late on in the season, the worst thing that can happen is that CJ wins this race. BXTN moves past Huff and Dolbach into turn 1. We've got a few cars there. Quite a big lock-up from Assassin Savage. And Huff and Dolbach now behind BXTN. BXTN's fast here. This is our pole sitter. Now down in third. Took that early safety car. The virtual. Took the hit. Moved down several places. But then a later safety car has ruined his chance of winning this race. But now he's back up into third. And potentially, will he be able to gain on Websy and CJ ahead? At the moment, Visa Cash App RB scoring massive points. As Huff and Dolbach moves back past BXTN, but BXTN's got a better exit out of Ascari. It's going to get very dangerous here. There's a few cars altogether, 4 cars in very close contention going into the Parabolica. 2 abreast, going in, 2 in a row. Owen lost a little bit of grip there. Slazenger of Volvo, Lex moving past. All of them, look at them jostling for position. And I can't keep up with this. Lex goes in, moves up into 5th. Slazenger of Volvo moving down the order. Owen's down into 8th. Assassin Savage has moved down to 7th. Manages to hold on ahead of Owen though. BXTN back down into 4th. Huff and Dolbach has retaken 3rd place. A little look on the inside. Owen goes ahead as Assassin Savage, but Assassin Savage holds on. And Binary and Owen now battling it out. Owen's gone for a move on Assassin Savage and ended up losing another place. Binary now into 8th. And what is going on? On board with Assassin. Got Slaz and Lex ahead. And Webbsy's still within DRS range of CJ. That is important for his race. Keep him out of the grips of the clutches of Huff and Dolbach and BXTN. But here we go again then. Round 2 of this incredibly chaotic 27 laps around Monza. And this time it is a little bit more tame, it seems. I think we've all gotten away with it there. Trying to keep track of that is just, especially with the fact that they don't match up to the teams that they're in. God. Just checking in on Websy here as soon as the gaps are smaller between these few drivers now. If it's like this to the end, it's going to be exhausting, to be honest. Lex and BXTN hunting down Huff and Dolbach. Huff and Dolbach is the cork in the bottle at the moment, maybe. But BXTN will desperately want to make his way past Huff here, because it means he gets a chance to try and claw his way back up to Websy, his teammate. And I'm Mr. DJ CJ, who's currently leading by 7/10 over Websy. But these four drivers have opted on to the medium tyre. And to be honest with you, I see an advantage with the hard drivers behind. But here goes BXTN on Huff and Dolbach. Takes third place again. And that is a wrap for this round's chaos into turn one. Just trying to keep an eye out. But anyone trying to make a sneaky move up the inside? Any unusual overtakes? A massive lockup. I think that was binary this time. See a big puff of white smoke coming from those brakes. And here is our race leader. You don't see much of him because he's doing very well to fend off Websy at the moment. And as I say that though, Websy closes in 2 tenths behind. It's now just 6 between them. And as I said, advantage to those on the hard tyre in these latter stages. Here goes Slazenger of Volvo, maybe. But better yet, here goes Lex on Huff and Dolbach on the inside of Parabolica, and they touch into Parabolica. Huff and Dolbach loses a couple of places because of it, loses ground. 4 of them together though in the same part of track, and 4 definitely do not go into 1. Let's hope that they sort it out before they get there. Lex, Slaz, Binary, Assassin, Savage, all together into the first turn. Somebody's gone off and taken to the escape road. Who was that? That's Assassin Savage trying to take to the escape road and has picked up. They didn't pick up any time penalty though. But he's now down into 8th, and he's shaking this up, hasn't it? BXTN, Binary, Huff and Dolbach. Binary's moved up into 4th from all of that. That's incredible considering where he was on this safety car restart. And the chaos continues here. And it's anyone's guess how they're going to finish, in which order, and if they will finish at all with how close it is. Assassin Savage looking at Slazenger of Volvo at the moment, who was looking to gain really from this, but is now back down into 7th place, and he's behind Owen. And Owen's having a look at Huff and Dolbach. Huff and Dolbach started on the first row. Has a little look on the inside. Thinks better of it after the last time they went through Parabolica side by side. And for Huff and Dolbach to still be in 5th place after that as well. Let's just point that out before we get to turn 1. And as we get there, Huff and Dolbach makes his way past Binary. But this has allowed BXTN to do exactly what he needed to do. He is now pulled away out of this DRS. And Binary is closing in on Huff and Dolbach, isn't he? But this time, no moves. Into turns 4 and 5. And Lex has made his way past Assassin Savage. What has happened there, though? It's a safety car. In the late stages of this race, we have a full safety car, and we do not know what caused it. And it's everyone onto the soft tyres. In practice, one of the drivers said, I cannot remember who it were, but one of the drivers said, you may need to go onto the softs for a late safety car. And it's been happening a lot lately. Assassin Savage has retired from the session. DNF. He will not finish the race, so the remaining 10 drivers will all score points so long as they finish this race. At the moment, though, I'm pretty sure it's definitely the case. But it looks like David Kovalaki has had a moment. He's lost both parts of his front wing, both end plates, and obviously, to point out as well, that he's miles behind. So that would suggest who caused the full course safety car. And what has happened here? CJ, Websy, BXTN, Hoffendorback, Lex, Tossany Goblin, Binary, sorry, as well. All boxed, all came into the pits as expected. But two drivers who did not, Owen and Slazenger. And you've got to wonder why they've done that. Because they've been caught by the safety car. And all those that have pitted have now rejoined the back of them. What has happened with Owen and Slaz's strategy here? Wow, just it is going to be painful for Owen and Slaz, as the safety car will come in this lap. They'll get no opportunity whatsoever to correct their mistake. They are going to be very much like Lewis Hamilton, Abu Dhabi 21, when he was on those used tyres compared to Max Verstappen. I did have to get it in there. And it's Owen's job to dictate when he goes. And he's got to make it a good one. Because if he doesn't, I mean, it's already looking pretty bad for Owen at the moment. And Slaz. Owen goes, but I think everyone was wise to it. It was a poor safety car restart. And before, when Websy did it, there was 7 tenths between him and CJ. This time around, there's just 4 tenths between him and Slaz. They're both on used hard tyres. And Mr. DJ, CJ, Websy, BXTN, Huff and Dolbach, Binary, they're all going to be coming for that first place. But at the moment, it's Slazenger who's taking the lead from Owen. And CJ into turn 1 overtakes Owen as well. And BXTN on the outside of 2. And Owen can do nothing but resign the lead of this race, and same goes for Slazenger. Slazenger under immense pressure, trying to cover left, right, left, but it's not going to be enough. CJ is going to take a look into De La Roja chicane, and is he going to make a move on the inside? Slazenger's gone off the track and retaken to the track. What has happened there? Slazenger's moved down the order and retired from the session. Sees there's no point in it. And CJ's in the lead, and BXTN is hunting him down just 2 tenths. Don't forget, BXTN started on pole. I've said it 1,000 times. BXTN has the pace here to win this race. It was clear. And now he's got fresh, soft tyres. He's back in contention for it. And we are on lap 26 of 27 on the inside. Looks Owen on BXTN. It's a losing battle, Owen. He's putting himself out of position, and by doing that, by looking at the overtake on BXTN, it was going to happen anyway. But by looking at the overtake on BXTN, look at this. Here goes Huff and Dorback. Here goes Websy. And here goes BXTN on Mr. DJ CJ as well. No, CJ later on the brakes. Huff and Dorback makes his way past Owen. Websy, incredibly, at the moment, still behind, and Binary's having a look as well. Websy on the outside though, coming up to turn 4, and that's going to put him on the inside, and that's going to allow him past Owen maybe. No, Owen on those used hard tyres is doing an amazing job, and we are on the final lap of this race. Websy though, as I look away, Websy has made his way past Owen, and Binary has to do the same as well. Owen is just holding on by the skin of his teeth. It's a tenth between the two of them. CJ, BXTN. CJ's incredibly late on the brakes. He's known for it. But here goes BXTN into the Scara chicane. And he manages to cut in front of CJ and take the lead of the Italian Grand Prix. And it's going to be all about batteries now, isn't it? It's going to be desperation to the end. Look at BXTN trying to break the toe. And Huff and Dolbach, in doing so, has managed to sneak his way past CJ in the final corners of this race. They go around the parabolica. 1, 2, 3. BXTN, Huff and Dolbach, and Mr. DJ CJ. They cross the line. BXTN wins the Italian Grand Prix. Ahead of Huff and Dolbach. And Mr. DJ CJ was first at the start of this lap. And now finishes third on the podium. Websy in fourth, Binary fifth, Owen sixth, Cotton the Goblin finished the race seventh, eighth goes to Lex, and David Kovalaki in ninth place. I think Slazenger may get 10th and that point because he completed enough of the race. So there are your top 10 finishers. And wow, what an incredible race that was, and what an end to it as well. GGBXTN says Huff and Dolbach. There's going to be a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths there about the opportunity to win that race. It was just so close. All the drivers, the majority of the drivers had equal opportunity at some point to do the right thing and win this race. I can't believe that Owen and Slazenger of Volvo stayed out on those tyres. It must have been something that we missed. Or just a horrible lapse in judgment. Or actually, it could have been the fact that they maybe already passed the pit lane and the safety car came out. I can't imagine that's what happened, but maybe. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they couldn't come into the pits. But either way, they were on those hard tyres and they had no chance from there. This is your race winner, BXTN, yet again. Picks up another win. That's another win to his tally this season. It's the second one of the season so far. And that is a nice, healthy 25 points for him. And maybe pulls him a bit closer to Mr. DJ CJ. He was 72 points off, though. And that is just, 10 points over him. So he'll now be 62 points behind CJ with 5-6 races to go. So, around 17. 7 races to go, sorry. 7 races left. Still doable to come back into this championship for BXTN. But, a mountain to climb. He's going to have to keep on having performances like that one. Fortunately, we're not going to get the standings, are we? Oh. That's just rude. It's not going to give us the end race results. That's unfortunate. Can't even go back and watch, can I? No, I can't. Okay, never mind. Either way, BXTN wins ahead of Huff and Dolbach, and I'm Mr. DJ CJ, losing out in the final stages on the podium, though. Incredible job from all the drivers, really, because of everything that happened in the race. It was quite chaotic. Next week, we'll be here again, Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. for another race of RCR action. We'll be back and racing at the Baku City Circuit. If you did like the stream, don't forget to, of course, follow. And you can catch the replays and all the re-uploads of the rounds on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. It's the same name, Archer above. You will definitely find it because it's the only pillar uploading race replays and clips. Anyway, thank you very much once again for watching. See you again next time. Bye-bye for now.